Welcome to the Sheffield United Way match preview ahead of our visit to Loftus Road to take on a fairly resurgent QPR who, after a terrible start to the season, have won 7 of their last 8 games at home and find themselves comfortably in the safety of mid-table. Their form has dipped a little bit. They're not as good as they were. I think they've lost 4 of the last 6, but it's mainly away games. They're winning every game at Loftus Road, so this is a hell of a challenge for United. And after that disappointing late defeat against Leeds in that big top of the table clash, United really do need to be looking for a bounce back to make sure that we can stay ahead of Burnley in the automatic promotion race. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Yes, welcome everybody to this match preview, and despite the poor result on Monday night, I am choosing to remain optimistic. I thought United, for the most part, more than held their own against the league leaders, against a team most people accept are the best in the league this season. The first half own goal had given United the lead, and I thought we fully deserved that. I thought we had a fantastic first 30 minutes that, if we're being honest, would blow away most teams in this division. It was disappointing that lots of Leeds pressure in that last 20, 30 minutes saw them steal the point, especially with the last 2 goals coming in the 90th minute. But for the most part, I thought it was a positive performance from the Blades. I thought 𝗍𝗍 once again just shone like a star. I think he is fantastic at that midfield disruptor role, and he's really growing into the end of the season. He's going to be a really key man between now and May. But of course, 𝗍𝗍 is the man who I'm going to reserve the majority of my praise for. I thought he was outstanding in that game, particularly for 60 minutes. I thought he won every single individual battle, and he was a huge part of everything that United did well. If you do want to hear a little bit more of our analysis of that game against Leeds, please do and check out our How Did We Lose That video, which we posted on Tuesday, and which includes detailed analysis of the key points and the key tactical battles that we had against Leeds, as well as looking at the changes which made all of the difference in the second half of that game. Now, before we get straight into the team news for the game against QPR, let me first thank our video sponsors. Panenka Bar and Grill is a stunning premium bar, which is set over 2 floors. It has 2 bars, a separate restaurant space, and luxury unique VIP boxes, which are available for private hire. Panenka truly is Sheffield's ultimate social experience, and it is the Sheffield United's Way designated pre- and post-match bar of choice. For games like this where United are away, it is the perfect place to meet up with your friends, watch the scores come in on the big screens, and just enjoy your Saturday afternoon, hopefully with 3 points at 5:30. All the live matches are on, so if you wanted to go early and get yourself in there for the mid-game, or you wanted to stay for the evening kickoff, it is the perfect place to spend that time with your friends. You will find Panenka at the entrance to New Era Square, just 5 minutes away from Bramall Lane, and it is ideally situated for every Sheffield United fan. Now, after the performance that we had on Monday night, I think the 11 that started that game basically secured themselves another go. I think other than Harry Clarke, who we know has been struggling through injury and who maybe had a difficult game, shall we say, in that first half, they all deserve huge credit for the way that they went out. They attacked Leeds, they imposed United's game on them, and I thought it really was exceptional, particularly for the first half and for that starting 11. Gus Harmer, Kiefer Moore, and Tom Cannon all made their returns from injury, but if I'm being honest, none of them really convinced me that they're fully match fit and ready to affect a game like this one on Saturday for a full 90 minutes. I just didn't see that from them. I want to see a bit more fitness. We need to ease them back in because we can't afford to lose them for the rest of the season. Let's give them time, get them fully fit, and make sure that they're ready to impact games for United again. They're also not bad options off the bench. They give us game changers who we can bring on. Didn't work against Leeds, but I think that kind of sub probably would work in games like this one at the weekend. The question mark, as we've said, is Harry Clarke. Who comes in to replace him? The name on everybody's lips is 𝗍𝗍𝗲. I think he would be most people's first choice after he was quite harshly dropped given the business that we did in January. However, I personally wonder if 𝗻𝗄𝗎 𝗠𝗏 is going to get the nod to play in that right-back position. He was impressive, I thought, on Monday night, locking down that side where we'd had so many problems in the first half, and I thought he did have a very good performance, so it may be that we see him come into the team. Now, in terms of what I'm going to do, I am going to make that change at right back, but in my prediction, I'm also going to predict that we make a change at centre half. I think it is time now. We've seen the partnership of Vanel and Jack Robinson, and we concede a lot of goals when they play together. I'm not blaming them necessarily, but for the most part, we're now starting to creep up towards 1.5 goals per game being conceded when they play together as a partnership, and that's just not good enough for a team going for automatic promotion. And so I'm thinking that we need to give Rob Holding a chance to try and show us what he's got in this game. So I'm going with Cooper in goal, a back four of 𝗟𝗓𝗓, 𝗚𝗏, Holding and Burrows, the midfield two who are just the linchpin of everything we want to do, 𝗤𝗍𝗄𝗎 and 𝐶𝐫𝗫, the front three, Ben Brereton Diaz, Callum O'Hare, 𝗍𝗫𝗓 and 𝗬𝗏𝗏 Campbell at centre forward. I thought United got noticeably tired in that second half. We couldn't maintain our performance for the full 90 minutes, but hopefully, as we say, with game changers off the bench, with those players getting a little bit more fit, we will be able to maintain it for 90 minutes in a game like this one that's maybe a little less relentless than the game that we experienced on Monday night. Let me know what you think. Let us know in the comments. Who would you be picking? Who do you think comes in at right back? Do you think it's time for that change at centre half? We want to hear from you in the comments down below. Now, to run the rule over our opposition, we have Connor, aka 𝗬𝗶𝗴, who is a fantastic QPR fan and a great YouTube and podcaster who is definitely worth a listen.
Hello Sheffield United Way listeners, Connor here, aka 𝗬𝗶𝗴, a QPR YouTube channel and podcast. I've been asked to come on and give a few words about Rangers ahead of our fixture against Sheffield United at Loftus Road on Saturday. So starting off with how we're playing currently, our form has started to dip a little bit recently. It's actually 4 losses from our past 6 games now. 3 of those losses have come on the road to Millwall, Coventry and Portsmouth. We have been struggling against the more physical and direct teams lately, but thankfully with the good form that we had between the end of November and the end of January, just 1 loss in 13 games, we have worked ourselves into a much more comfortable position in mid-table rather than being in another relegation battle as we had been in the prior 2 seasons. Thankfully, sprinkled in between those 4 losses have been 2 good results at home, 2-1 against Blackburn Rovers just before Eustace departed, and then 4-0 against his Derby County side in his first match in charge as well. Our home form has been the centrepiece of that considerable turnaround this season and it continues to be very good at home. It's 7 wins and just 1 loss in our past 8 at Loftus Road. So ahead of a very tough run against yourselves, West Brom, Borough and Leeds, it is good to know that we do seem to give more of a go at home. So how do I expect us to set up against Sheffield United? We tend to favour a 4-2-3-1 formation. Lately that's been 2 defensive mids with 𝗍𝗫𝗄𝗎 shifting in centrally as an actual number 10. A move that has suited him well at home but hasn't worked as effectively on the road. For me that would be the main choice for Cifuentes to make. Will he keep 𝗤 in that central role where he has been excelling at Loftus Road, or will he bring in another more traditional centre mid? 18-year-old Kieran Morgan was crucial to our turnaround earlier in the season and was featuring in that midfield with 2 other defensive midfielders, so we could see a return for him if we want to make ourselves a little bit more stodgy against Sheffield United. Elsewhere on the pitch, I would look out for Spurs loanee 𝗟min-hyuk. He's a right winger. He made his first start for QPR against Derby County in our last home game, and I expect he'll be coming back into the starting lineup after our 2-1 loss away at Portsmouth last weekend. That match also saw the return of Karamoko Dembele, who made his debut against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane earlier in the season and picked up an assist. He spent 4 months on the sideline but finally made a return from the bench the other day, so hopefully he will be in store for more minutes here. So finally, a score prediction. Obviously I'm expecting a very tough game here. QPR would traditionally play up a bit more against the top sides, especially after a result like Portsmouth last weekend, so I think we will throw our all at this one. It's just going to be a question of whether we have enough quality to break down your defence. So all in all, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Thank you so much for having me on and enjoy the game on Saturday.
Thank you very much, Connor, and I have to admit some of that had me worrying just a little bit. They've got very attacking, tricky windows, potentially in 𝗍𝗏 and Dembele, and with 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝗎 maybe having a free role in that number 10, that pairing of 𝗏 and Sousa becomes even more important. Sousa dropping in to deny him any space, make sure that he's not got that free reign. With physicality up against him, I do think he will struggle, so we've got to really play on that and make Sousa do a job on 𝗤𝗏, who is undoubtedly their danger man. A 1-1 draw, I don't think it'd be a disaster for United. It's a tricky away game, but with Burnley on our tails, coming off the back of a defeat against Leeds, I have to admit I hope that our good friend 𝗬𝗶𝗴 has got his prediction wrong. Now, on to the referee for our visit to QPR, and this man is called Thomas Kirk, and no, I have no idea either. He has taken charge of 21 games in all competitions so far this season, but the majority of them have come in League One. He has issued 98 yellow cards at an average of just under 5 a game, which is truly insane. That is absolute madness. He loves getting a yellow card out, but he has only issued 2 reds, so clearly once someone's been booked, he backs off and he just says, okay, don't worry about it. We'll carry on from there. He's only given 4 penalties. Again, really restrained in those important areas. I wouldn't expect big decisions from him, but I do think it might be a little bit of a stop-start kind of game with constant disruption and the sound of the whistle. He's never actually refereed United in a game before, but he has refereed QPR just the once at Loftus Road when they lost 3-1 at home to Hull back in October. And yes, I did start saying Hull before I'd finished the word home, so that sounded weird. Now, we move on to our player connections, and these are brought to you by 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹 is a virtual band, and loads of their members are huge Sheffield United fans. They love the club, and we love them. Please do go to 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹.com to check out their latest album. It's called Tall Tales of 10 Girls, and I absolutely love it. Now, in terms of played for both, we always pick 4. I have gone for 5 today because I decided I wanted to wind Nick up and include a very special player who he hated me for including against Luton. So we'll start with Jackie Longthrow, who spent 4 years at QPR but only made 39 appearances as injuries and a little bit of a loss of form affected his time with the club. Jack has now made 127 appearances for United and he's our club captain, which really shows the important role that he has adopted for the Blades since joining us in 2020. Paddy Kenny also played for both and of course joined United right back at the start of the noughties, went on to make 278 appearances for the Blades, was part of memorable seasons in the Triple Assault and in our promotion to the Premier League. But unfortunately, he did leave under a little bit of a cloud, joining QPR after they paid his release clause, not long after he'd returned from a questionable ban, shall we say. He was promoted and managed to stay in the Premier League with QPR and was most famously in goal for the very famous Aguero goal that won Manchester City the Premier League on the final day of the season. And no, I won't be doing that again. Don Givens, Nick's favourite man. He joined QPR from Luton and he spent the majority of his career and will be forever remembered at QPR. He was part of a very famous side that almost won the top division title. He then signed for United, and as I referenced before, I talked about him a little bit in our Luton preview, and he missed a historic penalty which saw United get relegated to the 4th division. Kyle Walker is another who's played for both. He was a boyhood Blade and came through at Bramall Lane, coming through our academy, made an instant impact in his first season, going on to play for United in the playoff final against Burnley. He returned on loan the following season, but sadly had it cut short in January and returned to Tottenham. He then spent half a season on loan with QPR, where he made 20 appearances, and to be honest, I don't think he'll be remembered that fondly at QPR. He wasn't there that long, but we are all hoping that maybe he will come back to Bramall Lane for a final swan song to his career. And from somebody who will be remembered as a great man from Sheffield, more so than a great player for United, we now come to the greatest ever player for Sheffield United, Tony Curry. Has anyone better worn the red and white? I doubt it. My dad certainly insists that nobody better has worn this red and white. I think specifically he spent 8 memorable years at Sheffield United and has obviously the honour of one of the stands being named after him, a tribute to the legacy and the impact that he had while at the club. 3 years after leaving Bramall Lane, Curry joined QPR, where he made just under 100 appearances for the club, including captaining them in an FA Cup final replay, which they did go on to lose. Who else can you think of? Are there other players? Let us know in the comments who you think should have had a shout out, who deserved it today, or did I get the absolute number one in Tony Curry? Now, finally, we come to our score predictions. And now, for our score predictions, we, as always, are leaning on our Blades WhatsApp group chat and our Patreon members. If you do want to support us and help us out with everything we do on the channel, please do go to patreon.com/Sheff United Way, where you can help us to just keep the lights on and keep doing what we really enjoy doing for everybody. Now, let's get the worriers out of the way first. James thinks that we're going to lose 2-1. He's gone 2-1 to the home side. Matt has predicted a decent point. He's gone alongside 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗹. He thinks it'll be a 1-1, but he is predicting a pretty positive first goal for the club for Tom Cannon, which I think we would all love to see. Everybody else who's come back has got a win for United. Ewan thinks it's going to be 1-0. Nick has gone for a 2-1. June is even more positive than both of those. She thinks it's another clean sheet. It's back to great performances. She thinks we'll win 2-0. And Greg and Laura have both agreed with her there. Lewis has gone for a 3-1 United win, while Richard really thinks we're going to bounce back with a bang and gone for a big 3-0 away win for the Blades. Me, I'm going to let my heart rule my head, and I'm going to say that we are going to bounce back. We're going to bounce back in the right way. Because if we play the way we played for 25, 30 minutes against Leeds, we will beat any team just about in this league. And I think that'll be more than enough for us on Saturday. I'm going to go 2-1. I think it'll get nervy at times, but I think this United team have got the resilience and the skill to win this game of football, and I'm backing them to do just that. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are you predicting United to get back to winning ways and just keep Burnley at arm's length, or are you getting a little bit squeaky around how we're feeling at this time of the season? Thank you so much for joining me for this match preview. Hopefully it's another win for United at the weekend, and we're still celebrating at 5:30 on Saturday. Up the Blades. 𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗷